What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the update show. It's 5.10, and I'm going to be honest with you. Look, I love a lot of the work we do here. The patches are awesome. This might be my favorite update in a while. We've got a lot of great stuff for you. Of course, God fixes and balance changes, item as well. But this adventure that I'm going to be telling you about, it's amazing. It's the namesake of this update. It's Medusa's Deathmatch, and trust me, it's really dope. You just got a little bit of a preview, some of the skins there that we're going to be releasing with this update. And let's go back to those, get a little bit of a closer preview. We're going to go in depth later on, of course, but we like to give you a little bit of a teaser before we get into it. So let's start off with Galactic Void Chernabog. Now, this is part of the Slavic event of the Divine Uprising. This is your reward for getting that Slavic event complete. And let me tell you, it's looking good. This is when it comes to value, man, this is as good as it gets because you're getting a ton of awesome skins from the Slavic event, and then you get this one for completing it. Really good stuff there. Next up is Star Trooper Achilles. Achilles getting a little advanced, getting some extra technology. Maybe this will help his late game. He's looking good there with the white and blue sort of advanced technology, kind of similar to the Artemis skin recently that I really like, that I've been playing a lot of. Polar Vortex Kukulcan is next up on the list. A little bit of mage skin love. You know, I'm excited about that. This is one of the... I love this sort of the feet and hands on this skin. The old adventure corrupted arena Kukulkan skin has that. I use that one a lot because I like to have actual hands and feet to use, and so I gotta have somewhere to put my boots, guys. You know what it is. Violet Lord Thor, excuse me, is up next. This one is kind of the brother, cousin, husband, something to that Aphrodite skin. The Violet Sorceress, I believe that one's called. This one doesn't have to make you feel as bad, though, because you don't have to play as Aphrodite, and that makes everyone mad right now. Queen Cobra Medusa is next up on the list. This one will be involved with Medusa's Deathmatch. You don't have to connect the dots there. I'll do it for you. You'll be seeing a lot of this skin, I imagine, in the adventure, as you should. And then last up is going to be Crystal Colossus Yamir. Look at the snout on that man. This is a big boy right here. I'm an absolute unit, if you will. All of us in awe of the size of this lad. That's the skins we got coming for you in 5.10. Of course, we will go more in depth, show off voice lines, animations, all that kind of good stuff later on in the show. But we're going to get to the good stuff first. And speaking of good stuff, let's head over to the desk. Gabby and Isaiah are there to talk about some exciting updates in the esports community.
Hey everyone, Tigers here with Isaiah, and I'm liking some of the teasers that we've seen so far.
Definitely some awesome stuff coming up in 5.10.
Oh,
Super
yeah.
exciting.
So all of those teasers that we just saw, which one are you looking forward to elaborating on?
Definitely Yamir.
Yeah.
I mean, you just look at him. He's so cool. The purple is awesome. Purple's one of my favorite colors.
I mean,
that's right.
I'm kind of on
you
that
knew.
page too. So I had to get with the vibe of what's going on today. But before we talk some general community specific stuff, I wanted to let you all know about what's going on in the esports scene. And one thing is we have some updates with the way that account linking is going to be working with Mixer. You'll be able to link your actual Microsoft account to your high-res account to enable drops within our esports broadcast. So no more copy and pasting, none of that business. It's just added directly to your account. And if you don't have a Microsoft account already, all you have to do is make one through your Mixer account. That should be rolling out within the next few weeks, and we'll be sure to shout it from the rooftops when it is available, so you'll know on SMITE Pro, on SMITE Game, you can find all the information that you need, as well as the interactivity that's happening during the SPL, where we list the different actual players with all of their stats during the broadcast. Have you had a chance to kind of check out that?
Yeah, I definitely checked it out yesterday, and it's super good. You're easily, page through all the players in the match, check out what's going on in real time. It's amazing.
Yeah, I was actually just talking to F'd Up before about that, and then the fact that Mixer, you can really customize your page and everything, your viewing experience. So I would recommend, before tuning into the next SPL, taking some time to play around with that.
Definitely.
But that's pretty much everything on the esports side. What do you got for us with community?
So it's Friday, and it's the start of the weekend, so that means it's time to party. So
this
weekend, you're playing with your friends. If you play in a party of 2 or more, you can get bonus rewards. If you're in a party of 2 players, you get 2 times favor worshippers and XP. If you're in a party of 3 or more, you'll get 3 times favor worshippers and XP. So make sure to call your friends, cancel those weekend plans, and get some bonus rewards.
So there's no such thing as too crowded of a party in that case?
Definitely not. Yeah. 3 is definitely not a crowd. I want some 5-man queues. I'm going to call all my buddies.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Now, I actually spent a week without internet and without a cell reception or anything, so I missed the spring fling. I had to catch up later.
You missed out on a treat. We had an amazing time during the spring fling. We raised over $100,000 for Make-A-Wish, which is amazing. Hats off to the community. You guys are amazing. And we also hit some pretty cool bonus rewards because we hit our donation goals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I believe we're going to have a Jeff Hemlett and Barracuda announcer pack come in. I heard Hi-Rez Avi is going to get some sort of SMITE-themed tattoo.
She is, and I can reveal to you right now, it will be a Khepri tattoo. So that's
right.
Because
the hug
we
bug.
hit those goals. Yeah. So I really love the commitment of a lot of the people here at Hi-Rez. We hit those goals and really actually putting that forth, and those announcer packs should be good. But there's also something dealing with.
Yeah, we've got one more donation goal. So if you guys didn't know, through the duration of the spring fling, there were 2 teams that you could put your donation towards. There's Team Loki main, and if that team won, we would do a special match of the day with all Lokis in a Gemstorm event. And there was also Team Make Him Vanish, and if that team won, we're going to disable Loki for a day. And I'm happy to announce that Team Make Him Vanish won, so on July 4th, there will be no Loki in game. So make sure, call your friends. Don't have to worry about that Vanish. Don't have to worry about that ult. It's going to be an awesome day of Smite.
I hear some hooping and hollering over on the
right.
sidelines
I hear
already.
the cries.
Yeah, we'll see those faces in just a minute, but it's time for us to venture into the new adventure. Let's take a look.
Gotta say, before we get into this adventure stuff, I'm very proud of our community for raising a ton of awesome money for Make-A-Wish Georgia. That was amazing. But I'm also really proud of us for getting rid of Loki for a day. Good work, team. That was the right team. Team Vanish is the way to go. And I've got a team with me here on the set now. I'm joined by Fishman, of course, one of the designers, and Christian Davis. Christian, the lead environment artist for Smite. Guys, this adventure, I gotta say, you know, I got a chance to play it a little bit a while ago as we were ramping it up. I have been waiting for this for a while. 3v3 v3.
V3, that's right. I'm so excited we finally got to do this. And that cinematic was killer. That's the first time I've seen it. The game itself is really awesome. So I'm excited to tell you more about that today.
Christian, what can you tell us about the environment? Like, what is the area that we're battling in? What's going on here?
Yeah, so we took a lot of inspiration from the old Clash, and we said we want to do all new art for it. Basically, we've just themed it around Medusa, and basically the middle part is the tomb, and it has all this like really cool relic, and it's about this forgotten village and area that prays this middle area, and so it's basically just an old worn down village.
It looks really, really good. I can't wait to get in game and see a little bit more about what's actually happening. But Fish, tell me about this 3v3v3 mechanic. Normally in Smite, it's just 2 teams.
Sure.
How difficult was it to add that 3rd team, and how does that change the dynamic of the mode?
It was surprisingly difficult. There are a lot of parts of Smite that have been there since the dawn of time that just assume I'm either my team or the enemy team. So if I'm not on my team, I must be on the enemy team. So having it actually handle, there are multiple enemy teams, broke a number of gods that we went back and fixed, and some like core mechanics like towers and stuff, just all kinds of little stuff that just assumed that, and we've gone and polished all that up so that you can actually play versus yourself and another team after that. You can definitely get a spoiler in there. In normal Smite, it's just one team's ahead, one team's behind. In this, once one team pulls ahead, both the other teams kind of recognize, like, all right, we should really start killing them, otherwise they're going to run away with this, which adds a whole new dynamic to the game of Smite.
Yeah, it looks like you can see who's on each team on the top left of your screen there. Nice little, easy to understand UI. So it looks like kind of an arena thing, but Christian, the mini map, I'm taking a look at it right now. It's starting to close in there. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, so the map in total is separated by 3 parts, and then right on the outside is this big sandstorm, and it's essentially a fog that the sandstorm encompasses in and pushes all of the players inside into the center objective.
Okay, so there is a center objective. What is that center objective?
You want to talk about?
That's the death mask. So this whole thing is like a refound tomb to Queen Cobra Medusa, and inside you've got this little obelisk with her death mask on it. When you kill that, you get a buff. Your whole team gets a buff for the whole round. So if you see up the top, the UI element says round 2, there can be between 3 and 7 rounds. And for the rest of this round, you're going to have a buff on your entire team that increases your damage dealt, giving your team just a little bit of edge on the other 2. So it really, in addition to the sandstorm, those both kind of push you towards the center to kind of force aggression over the course of the match, so no one can like stay hidden over in little pockets and not have to fight and make it to the end that way.
So we're getting a little in depth here, but I suppose we should take a step back and just talk about what the actual mode is. It's 3v3v3, and it's round based.
That's
so
right.
You just have to eliminate the enemy team. First to 3 wins, right?
Sure. So it's last man standing. So of all these teams, the last team that has any members surviving a round, that team wins the round. And then you've got those little, you see the HUD up the top, you've got 3 little pips under each of the team symbols. And the first team to get all 3 of those wins the entire game. And each one of those represents one of the rounds. So it'd be the last man standing 3 rounds, and you got the game.
So it looked like there were some potions around the map. There is some element of sustain that you can find there.
In the little watery areas, you can see a little healing potion. In addition to retroactive healing, it also gives you a preemptive shield. I believe 5% of your max health, so that you can grab them before you really get into the throes of combat and have just a little bit of edge for that first center objective fight.
Now, Christian, I see a lot of bushes around. Are you? And it looked like you were going invisible almost in those. Is there a stealth mechanic there?
There is. So there was something that was pretty popular with one of the adventures we had made, which was Nile Stealth Grass. And so I think we wanted to bring that back and wanted to play around with it. Basically, when you leave your base, there's those potions on the outside, and they're set up with Nile grass that's around that's good for ganking. And basically, when you can go in it, you can stealth and jump on your enemy teams. Or if you're in a big major fight, you can hide in it and get away. But yeah, it's represented by the big tall grass, and they're sprouted throughout the entire map.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, but Fish, so let's role play for a second here. Let's say I'm a little tiny baby scared player like FDOT. Let's just a random name that I just came up with.
I can picture it.
Yeah. So what if I just want to hide around until the very end of the round and not really, and just try and play cleanup after the other 2 teams duke it out? Is that a sound strategy for me?
So let's talk about upsides and downsides. So the upsides of that is that there's a good chance, especially around that center objective, that the other 2 teams are going to fight each other and likely pick off each other. So at least one of the teams is going to be down one or potentially all of their members, giving you an increased chance to win because you'll still be full members, full health. Now, the downsides are that each time you get a kill, your whole team gets a power buff, similar in strength to the red buff. It gives both some flat magical or physical power and some percentage-based power of either type. And each time anyone on your team gets a kill, your whole team gets that buff. So you can get to up to 3 times for killing one team, and then up to another 2 times for killing 2 members of the 3rd team before you kill the last guy. And so if you're sitting there waiting in the grass as FDOT,
yes,
you're going to be weaker in that
crying
final
a little
fight.
bit.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Like huddling,
Right.
kind of like rocking
Whimpering.
yourself gently.
Yeah.
You're going to have the safety of your whole team in full health, but you're going to be at a disadvantage by not having that power buff for not having participated in those fights earlier.
And that power buff stacks, you were telling me
It
earlier.
does,
Like,
it does.
It's pretty crazy. If you start killing a lot of people, like if one team wipes another, you have to get in there quick while they're low before they heal up, because this power buff is strong.
Sure. So it stacks in 2 ways. One, you can just get one instance of that buff for each person you kill. So you can have it up to 5 times before you kill the last person. The other way it stacks is it starts out really weak and actually ticks up over the course of 10 seconds. So if we're in a close 3v3 and I'm real low and you're real low, I don't instantly become stronger and finish you off. You have a chance over the course of those 10 seconds while it's ticking up before it reaches full strength. After that, though, I'm going to have this full strength buff and you're not, so I'm going to have a huge advantage.
And it looks like the healing that you get from getting the kills, the potions that drop, those are little like death scrolls,
That's right.
Christian? Like, what was the environment as a whole? You know, you're in this tomb, but you've got to get potions and like a buff in the middle. How difficult was that to come up with thematic things that can kind of fit that role?
Yeah, so we went through a lot of different iterations, and we talked with the team about how can we divide the outside and the inside, because there's a lot of different objectives. The center objective, and then the outside objectives, and then stealth grass. Basically, there's 3 different teams, so we separated into 3 different parts of the village. There's the docks, there's the market, and then there's the fire brazier area.
Sure.
And so basically we just tried to thematically make each section feel unique. And so when players are trying to either hide or gank or do objectives, they know exactly where they're at. And, you know, the potions and the center objective just kind of all fell into place. And, you know, we did a lot of play tests. I was pretty much in there every day getting destroyed. But but as long as I knew where I was,
fun, right?
Yeah, it was part of my fun. And, you know, the scrolls went up and down on how strong they were. And, you know, the scrolls definitely make a big difference.
Sure.
They also separate the rewards. So you get the buff for killing an enemy team automatically. They die, it goes to your, if the kill's on your team, you get that buff. That's just going to happen. But the heal to help you like be on even kill as far as health and mana, that you have to go and pick up. And if it's in the middle of a fight, there's some risk to going back into the center, and other teams can kind of plan around you going there and kind of try to set up on the scroll to punish you for trying to pick that up.
Sure. So how does the gold work? Like we saw that there were buying items at the beginning and in between rounds. Is everyone getting the same amount of gold, or do you get it based on how well you're doing?
So you're going to start at level 5 at 2,500 gold, and then each round, everyone's going to start at that. And then each round, regardless of who won, regardless of kills, everyone's going to get bumped up by the same amount of gold, the same amount of levels, until at the end you're level 20 and you have tons of gold.
Okay.
So everybody's on an even kill each round. Now, some gods are going to be better at the beginning, and some gods are going to be better at the end, just like in our other modes. But as far as actual gold and actual XP, that's matched across all teams.
So you can try and make an early game comp like we got to win the first 3 rounds or we're in serious trouble, or you just got to stall, let the other teams win some rounds, and then we've got Mercury and Chang'e in the late game.
Both of those should be viable.
Dominate. Yeah.
And one of the things that helps keep both of those viable is that you're going to have a little indicator. So on each of the nameplates, in addition to the normal health bar and player name, you've got a faction icon.
Sure.
So that you can see, oh, that's on the blue team, that's on the pink team, that's on the yellow team. Well, when one team gets 2 wins, they're going to have a little crown show up over their team to let you know, oh, hey, if they win one more round, they've got it. And so that's going to help you punish those early game comps and give you time for the stall comps to come into play. It's because the other team will probably identify with you, those are the guys we should be fighting. So you get to the end. So
we already saw the skin that you'll get whenever you purchase the arena bundle, or the adventure bundle, excuse me, which is that Desert Queen Medusa. Not only will you just feel better playing it on the map, no real advantage, but look good, feel good, match the map. Doesn't hurt. That's all I'm trying to say.
Skins if you want to win.
That's exactly. Yeah. What else do you get from purchasing this adventure bundle?
So we've got several thematic items. We've got a new musical score that we've got.
Okay.
We've got the Deathmatch theme. We've got a Deathmatch jump stamp and a Deathmatch ward skin, all of which come with that bundle, as well as, of course, the 2018 gold key, which lets you get our new gold vault skin as well.
And that is the Achilles skin that we saw earlier, the advanced Achilles. I forget exactly what it's called, but you get it. Close enough. You got what I meant. Before we wrap up here, this is a mode that, again, I had a ton of fun playing. I think the different team comps is something that is really fun to experiment with. We tried to run triple warriors, thought that was going to be super good because we were like, oh, we just won't die. We died and it didn't work too well. What are some of the favorite combinations that you guys have tested with so that people get some sort of idea of gods that you think are pretty good in the mode?
So the general strategy that we saw was you kind of go near your potion, and most people, there's a very slight map based reward for doing this. Most people tend to go clockwise towards their nearest potion and then wait in the grass until it spawns, grab that, and then head to the center, and you should be there just in time to contest the first spawn of the center objective. As far as team comp, what we saw being very rewarding was 2 really meaty warriors. Chalk, Hercules did very well because they've got some self-sustain, and then 1 damage and healing mage, like a Ra or a Hell.
Okay.
That threw down pretty well across various balances.
What about for you, Christian? I mean, I know you were out there dominating. Anything you touched was working, but what made it feel the least fair to the enemies?
Least fair, dude. Picking like someone with range like Janus, and who can snipe these center objectives and stuff, and then even he could put his 2 and his 1 right through the Nile grass and stuff. So if people are hiding, Janus is going to find them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mages, I thought mages did really well, but me personally, I picked nothing but assassins. Execute all the way.
All the way. And Medusa looked like she was doing pretty well in that video as well. So there are some definitely different play styles you can go for. One thing I do want to bring up before we toss it over to the balance section is we thought that healers were going to be super OP. That was like easy free wins, and they were good, but your relics reset between each round. So you're guaranteeing a cursed Ankh on you every time if the enemy team is itemizing well. So something to keep in mind. Super excited for this adventure. You guys did an awesome job. Literally cannot wait to play this. Thank you so much for joining us on the couch here as well. Let's throw it over to Hindu Man and Pon. Again, Pon, I'm really sorry, dude. I want to be there with you. I really do.
Yeah, it's disappointing.
Yeah, well,
we've got Palm, but we've also got AJ too. No point out from aggro about that for some reason. How you guys doing?
I mean, we're doing great.
Good.
Yeah? Ready for an exciting balance section this week?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've got a lot of interesting things to talk about.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and if people are paying really close attention to that Medusa video, they would have seen one.
They were paying attention. I already saw comments.
yeah,
Someone
yeah.
someone
really?
noticed.
Nice.
Which that is impressive.
Wait,
you really had
good.
to notice.
People's noticing the balance change for Medusa in that rather than looking at how cool that event's going to be?
I mean, people are apparently quite observant
Yeah.
at times because I was impressed to see someone point that out,
They're
and
always
they were
looking
correct. They called it.
Always looking for the sneaky things. Let's start things off then. We're here for the patch notes section. This is all to do with balance and bug fixes too. We're going to start things off with bug fixes this week as well. Something we do still do bug fixes. We've just not been promoting them on the show as much. And I think a lot of the community have been like, wait, what? Why are we not doing that? So we're going to take the time and do it.
Yeah, we're going to do a little bit of an update just to make sure everything's clear. So a little while back, we delayed a patch that we took a lot of extra time inside the SMITE team to look at our process and just the order of events, the way we do things. So we delayed that patch. We made a lot of changes to our process. That's really what we did the most of. So this is not necessarily something players are going to see right away. This is something that we feel, though, every day in our schedule. And then we released PC, Xbox, and PlayStation all at the same time, which was really exciting. So since that delay, a lot of people seem to think that that's going to like ripple effect or anything like that. And that's why I'm trying to clarify here today, which is we are back on the 2-week schedule.
Okay.
Ideally, patches will launch on Tuesdays simultaneously.
Right.
But there's always a chance that they might not. We might have to delay it. This patch we had to go till Wednesday.
Sure.
That was for a small issue regarding the terms and agreements, which actually have to be fixed. It's not an option to ship without those.
Right.
Some bugs we can decide, but that one, no, you have to.
Have to have that
Right.
one.
So in the future, we will be aiming again for the 2-week launches on Tuesdays.
2 weeks.
But we will always update the community if there is any delays or if one platform is having any additional issues that the others are not. But that's going to be back to the normal schedule. So that delay not going to affect, not going to change things.
So the only thing you guys at home really need to know is that patch notes are now on a Friday.
Right.
The patch is still going to come out probably on a Tuesday. On the very rare occasion, it may come out a little bit later than that, just as it always has in the past. So get over it. We're fine. We're back to normal.
Right.
That's step one. Step two, let's go through some of the bug fixes that you guys have been after game fixed, first of all. Fix issues where players could not scroll properly on the following pages: God page, season ticket info, glossary settings, social, ranked information, adventure information. All those have been adjusted. Fix also an issue where swapping skins in the God select lobby could prevent the player from banning a God.
Yep.
Fixed it.
Damn.
Fixed.
That's really hurting me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Like
That
I
was
was
your strat.
Oh, yeah.
when I was first pick, I was just spamming skins so I
Banned.
could.
Yeah, banning you.
No,
Stu.
no.
Yep. Someone gets
Stu,
Stu.
don't be listening. No, that's not what happened.
Get him in here.
Honest. It's okay. After that, fix an issue where the scoreboard could display incorrect information after a player disconnects. Is that when the
That's where like
the
you
items
saw
change?
Yamir ADC.
That looked dope.
Community was
That
having
was
a lot
great.
of fun memeing these images. Like, look at this crit Freya. I wish we were playing Season 0 every now and
They
then.
went
but
all the way back there.
Not actually, just a UI bug, and it is fixed.
Fix an issue where the replay button would not function and could bring users into a bad state. No more bad state from that. Fix an issue where the in-game mute button, text VGS, would sometimes not mute players. That worked? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Sometimes when you hit that button, it just didn't actually stop them from talking. Now it does.
Now we can really mute. Console only. Fix an issue where viewing a friend recent history resulted in a crash. There you go, console guys. You get some love too. Fix an issue where the thumb mouse button could trigger pings randomly on the mini-map. Oh, that's a
This
big
was a
one.
fun one, yeah.
That's a
Certain
big
people
one.
with certain keybinds were experiencing this a lot, and it's funny because other players were like, "Oh, I've never had that happen to me ever." It really depends on what you were doing with your, mouse of different brands and stuff with the different buttons. I've got one with a bunch of thumb buttons because I really like thumb buttons. But
some games I use thumb buttons, some games I don't. Smite,
Yeah.
not one that I've really
Really?
used.
I
I know
put-
a
I
lot
put
of
my
pros
abilities.
like to have relics on there.
oh yeah, that makes
Makes
sense.
Some of those just a few quick
Another thing to
actions
add
there.
is that this is not all the bug fixes for the patch. We
There's
just
more.
wanted to pick a select few that were really impacting players.
Yeah.
There's a lot more small ones. You'll see that on the patch notes.
Yeah, when we get to the
And
actual
you
God
should
section,
be
you'll see
seeing
a
that
bit more.
consistently on patch notes as we go forward. Long lists of bugs, and we'll talk about the most impactful ones on the show.
So item balance it is then. Let's move on to there because that's a couple of the updates. And you can see Heavenly Wings is going to be the first item, or relic I should say, to be adjusted. We're going to be reducing the movement speed you get from this from 30% to 20%. What's the big reason for this, guys?
So I think the big goal here is Heavenly Wings had this really powerful play that you can make early on where you picked it up, you upgraded it first, and then if you had a really aggressive comp, like let's say you had a very aggressive support and hunter that could make advantage of this, they pop this and just run down the opponent really early.
Right.
Which is a cool strategy. That's actually a really cool thing. It's just for the amount of power that you can get for doing this play, it was also really, really good for the whole course of the game as well, outpacing in a lot of other relics and a lot of other situations. So we're toning down the movement speed you get. So if you choose to opt into this really early game strategy, you can still utilize it, but the effect that you're going to have over the course of the whole game off having it is going to be a bit toned down.
It kind of gives the junglers with speed buff a chance to still be able to chase them down, I guess, if they're going to pop sprint to disengage.
Well, really, this change came from the results of the land and from discussion with pros, pro feedback. We saw this strategy working a lot. Pros felt that this strategy was strong and was fun and was interesting, but it was just a little too uncounterable, which is why we didn't make any drastic changes to the way the relic functions. And still, we're keeping the slow immunity, we're keeping the haste on the upgrade, because it was all about buying that upgraded relic at level 1. That's a really cool idea. But the fact that Heavenly Wings could also do that at level 1, as well as like bail out your entire team to escape a fight when they needed to late game, things like that. So that's where just toning down the speed a little bit should allow for more counterplay and still allow the strategy to be viable.
Don't think that is dead by any stretch of the imagination. After relics, we'll move on to Celestial Legion Helm. This is going to get a bit of a buff this patch, it says.
This is actually more text fix.
Oh.
This is just a text fix.
Why have you written buff?
Yeah, that's a typo. That's our bad.
Hate you guys.
Our mistake.
I get all excited. I'm like, okay, buff. Text fix. Increase the basic attack bonus damage. Oh, that's
wrong.
Wow, they're well ahead. So first of all, Celestial Legion Helm updated description text to make it more clear that stacks are only lost on physical god damage.
Right.
So not from minions or
not from minions, not from jungle camps, not from item effects like Crusher.
Right. There was a lot of speculation. Some people weren't sure if it was doing that, or they perceived it as being worse item than it was because they assumed it would work that way. So just making that more clear.
So onto Hydra's Lament, you can see it on the screen there. We're actually going to increase the basic attack bonus damage from 40 to 50%. Some of those junglers are going to love that. What's the reason?
So we have a few changes here targeted towards more basic attack focused characters. You saw a few others that we're cycling through.
Yeah.
But essentially, for example, Hydra's Lament is this thing that players can use when they cycle abilities really quickly if they're focused on getting a lot of basic attack damage off. Augmenting that from 40% to 50% really helps the item shine if you're utilizing it well. Low-key players, for the day that they don't get it taken away from them, we'll be able to use it pretty effectively. For example, Susano is another character that can weave auto attacks really effectively. And so those characters who rely on those basic attacks now have this item they can build into that's really effective.
So a bit more potency for that item, see how that works out. You saw a couple of items come up on the screen there. We're going to go on to Hasten Katana next. This is going to get a price reduction here. It was 2,400 gold. It's going to come down by 200 gold to 2,200. Now this item's been picked up here or there, but I guess we just think it's just too expensive?
No, we really are just focusing on a whole subsection of the assassin class.
Right.
Specifically the basic attack focused ones. So we have Kali, Bakasura, some of these assassins that are really not prioritized as much as the ability-based assassins. So we're trying to look at their core items and give them some love there.
Okay.
Specifically, the item statistically seems quite strong, so we wanted to go for a cost reduction just to make sure that these assassins are getting online a little earlier, because the item has pretty intense stats already. It would feel like we were pushing it a little too far, I think, if we went heavier on power penetration, etc. So we went for the cost decrease, and then we're doing the same thing with the Midgardian Mail.
Yeah, I guess this is part of that. Midgardian Mail we saw on the screen a minute ago,
we
which is
fixed the RNG on that item,
earlier
which
on.
we, mathematically calculating it was relatively even in power, but turns out fixing RNG for consistency is a lot, like, even though the numbers don't support it, that's a big buff. Being reliable is actually a pretty big buff. So we're getting the health coming down on that to make that item a little bit more focused, similar with Hydra's. We're focusing on the passives. So we're nerfing the stats here. So you really want to get this item to specifically counter some gods. Making this not so must-buy, hopefully could bring up those basic attack assassins.
Okay, also it makes those hyper carries, like, you'll focus to get this item for a hyper carry like an Artemis or a Rama, but, like, maybe if they're an ability base like Chiron, probably not. Right.
I
get that.
And, Pawn is the Kali and Baka special.
Oh, so that's why we're getting buffs.
Yeah,
of course.
I'm happy with this patch. This is great.
It's either mages or junglers. That's all that ever seems to happen now. Item balance graphic. Let's go to that and have a little look at exactly what has been changed this patch.
And again, the Celestial Legion is
not a buff, it's a text fix, but technically that is a buff, If
if you weren't thinking it was working that way,
it does work now, Hydra's Lament and Hasten Katana, so junglers Wet Dream, and then nerfs to Heavenly Wings and the Midgardian Mail too. So more little bits of focus.
Holding off on mage items for a little while. We've been shifting that a lot. We're going to kind of let that settle this patch or two. We're definitely already looking at some for the next patch.
Into gods then we go. We're going to start off with Achilles. He's always been a terror in your games. He's had a couple of nerfs already, but we're going to tweak his passive this time around. The Gift of the Gods. The physical power bonus has been decreased from 10 plus 2 per level to now 3 plus 2 per level, and we've also decreased increased the passive movement speed from 3% plus 0.2 per level to 1% plus 0.25 per level. So overall, the passive just been decreased slightly.
Yeah, so the power is just a raw decrease, and the movement speed is a kind of more of a shift, but it still is a decrease overall.
Right.
And largely the decreases are focused on the early game. So Achilles, very potent early game. We've said it a few times. And his ability to like scale from the early game to the late game is kind of like where people can catch him. But his ability to fight in the early game is still too high. 10 bonus power really early on is quite good, as we've seen.
Oh, right.
And so we're turning that down, making it so that the early game choice, you actually might want to go the defensive route, or you might want to go the offensive route. And that's also another reason for this change, is we were seeing a lot of useless of shirtless Achilles,
which we
We
love.
were seeing very little.
I mean, a lot of people like
the
shirtless
armored
Achilles.
I mean,
some armored would be nice now and again.
we want to just make sure there's a meaningful choice.
That's
there.
fair. And we've had that issue with Ratatoska, for example, with the Acorns in the past. You know, like it's always going to be one that's going to be a cookie cutter to an extent, but this is kind of trying to answer that.
And you know, even no matter how close they are, there will still probably be the one that most people favor. But we just want to make sure there's that choice there. And the great thing about Achilles is you can shift back and forth too, which is really cool. And we found that people were overwhelmingly going shirtless in the early game for that power and movement speed. Achilles was, in fact, like the most early game god in the game. So we're kind of toning down his early game bit so he doesn't feel so crazy impactful right away.
Yep.
Next up then is going to be Chiron. I mentioned him a little bit earlier on, but he's going to get a bit of a buff to his training exercise. We've increased the duration of the CC immunity from an instant cleanse to a 0.3 seconds of immunity, as well as we've adjusted the time at which the cleanse triggers from before the setup or pre-fire to after the setup or pre-fire. So that means the detonation.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one.
Is that right? Is
Not-
that how I
not
read it? That's how
not
it
a
reads.
detonation.
Oh.
I'll walk you through it.
Please do, because like I'm going to be a little bit confused about it.
So Chiron, believe it or not, had a cleanse.
He did.
On training exercise.
He
A
does.
lot of players didn't know that. It was not very easy to communicate visually because people associate CC immunity with the gold glow.
Of course.
And there's not that many other abilities that cleanse without that Geb shield being one of the only ones. And that is, you know, iconic in its own way, so it's very clearly visual. But so what we're doing here is we're giving Chiron CC immunity on himself and allies in training exercise. That's going to trigger the gold glow. It's going to make it really obvious that training exercise is cleansing people.
Right.
And it's a really short CC immunity, so it's hard to use in a preemptive way.
Sure.
But it's mostly a cleanse. We're also, once we put that gold glow, you could really see the order of events on this ability, which was relatively complicated, actually. So what would happen previously is Chiron would start firing the ability before, like, at the very first second, a fraction of a second, before the ability even appeared on the ground. When Chiron started his animation is when he would cleanse people. Right. Which is just kind of strange and inconsistent for Smite. We wanted that cleanse to be as fast and responsive as possible, but it was kind of breaking consistency and visual rules. We wanted to shift that. So now what you're going to see is Chiron's going to do his animation. It's like a little point. And then the ground circle is going to start appearing. That's when you're going to get cleansed. So it's got a very nice feel to it. You get this very clear boom as soon as he finishes animation, the gold glow goes off. Then we have a delayed period before it explodes and deals damage.
And it's 0.3 seconds, so it's a very small amount of time. But at the same time, it can be very impactful.
It is. And one of the cool things about the timing shift is now that there's some animation time, you can actually cast it
in response
to something, get hit by something, and cleanse it. Although
so
it's very difficult.
So on gank attempts, then you could just like training exercise yourself and then start running knowing that you can't be cancelled
Yeah, so
out.
if you hear that like Kumbats blink over the wall, you know he's going to ult immediately. You place that right down there. You'll cleanse yourself. Maybe get out in time.
Okay.
It's also very possible that the other player just waits for a second, though, and then hits you after you cleanse early.
And then you're probably dead.
There's a lot of skill to there. And didn't we have another change for Chiron that's I don't see on this list?
It is not on this list.
Is it
You're
happening?
Right. It is happening.
I'm very sure that we put that in there. We did a slight increase on Masterful
it's
Shot.
on there,
Okay, it's just not on our notes. Yeah, Masterful Shot. Great.
There we go.
Yeah, so this was not quite feeling that impactful. We wanted to up this just a little bit to help Chiron get that bit of a tank shred, a bit of a more of a mark, right? That's supposed to be attack that guy.
Sure.
But for 3%, people didn't notice that much. Bump that up to 5%. Still slight because it's easily applied and often applied, but we want it to work on tankier targets and in more cases.
Okay. All right, so 2 changes to Chiron then, both in good spirits. Discordia, next up. A bit of a fix here just for you guys at home. Golden Apple of Discord. We fixed an issue where the apple could visually disappear before hitting a target or reaching its max range. Obviously, I've seen that happen a couple of times before, but it's nice to have that sorted out so you can definitely see where it's going.
Yep.
First of all, now it disappear. After that, it's Squad New time. He got buffed. He needed a nerf.
Yep.
It's a small nerf, I'd say, but in the grand scheme of his kit, but at the same time, this is a big impact to his healing, his sustain. 2 times to 1.5 times his healing. Pon, how is this going to impact him?
So I think this is just going to overall bring him down from where the recent buff brought him. He got a lot of utility. He was able to really reliably heal, slow, shred for a lot of like over the course of a fight. He could do this really often. And so when you can 2 times heal for that base amount pretty heavily and pretty reliably for your team, it's pretty good. And we saw Guan Yu really skyrocket in performance. And so when we were looking at him as a whole, we were like, well, what does he bring to the fight? What can we tone down? What are the things that he really excels at? And one thing is healing, and healing is something we've also just kept a really close eye on in general, as we've seen healing kind of sneak its way into the meta, and people are still trying to figure out if it's necessarily a good thing to do or not. But the healing he brought was really high. Tone that down so that he's a bit more manageable to deal with. And then we'll see where he goes.
We're keeping a close eye on healing for next patch as well. Next patch, we are already
because it's only just started moving that way, and then maybe we'll see some adjustments if required.
Yeah, we've even seen some shifts in the pro meta too. Like we actually didn't see that much prioritization of Aphrodite this week.
No,
not that much. We expected more based on the land results, but not that much. We kind of went back to Ra and Guan.
We're seeing healers though. They're
we're seeing them. So Guan Yu, the buff we're really excited about that buff. It's super fun. Just made the god so much more fun to play. His pick ban rate went from like 2% in rank to like 60%, which is
it was a big
awesome.
Buff. It was a big buff.
Bring back an old school god and really make him fun. But he needed a little nerf too.
Next up is Hebert, a very interesting god to say the least. A lot of people have been asking for stuff here. Now this is what we call a shift, because we're going to be doing some love to him, but also decreasing some things that players may find frustrating here. So before you all panic about seeing increased base HP from 365 to 400, well, that's the buff alongside decreases HP per level, which is a nerf actually, from 68 to 67. So he gets more base health at the start, but it's less as he levels up. This goes alongside the water cannon adjustment here as well. So we're going to be reducing the amount of damage water cannon does. It was 90 to 290. It's going to start a little bit lower now. 70, still going up to 290 in the late game though. So Hebert's early game healthier, but weaker.
Yes.
Yeah, so Hebert was really causing a lot of ranked frustration mostly.
That's
his priority was super high. His performance was very strong. And this ability that does about as much damage as a normal mage attack was on an extremely low cooldown.
Yes.
It still is.
Yeah, I was going to say,
right?
still is.
And we love that. You know, the very low cooldown of that ability and that close range and juking around on your river ability later. This is the feel of Hebert that's really important, but we wanted to do a little bit of shift here. What we perceive is definitely more of a nerf.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's getting about 15 HP or something at
the
the end of the game and 40 at the beginning of the game, 35. But to sacrifice a good bit of his damage, where he really is a bad snowball character. He can, if he takes off early, it's a real trouble. And also he was like crazy squishy compared to a lot of the other mages. So want to just take a look at those stats and look at those frustration reasons.
Yeah, so as you can see by the numbers as well, I mean, realistically, everything is gone down in terms of damage except the last rank of that ability is going to stay the same.
Yeah, and so you can see like he ends about the same power level as he does currently, but in the early game, that's where you have the largest bit of the shift, and that's also where he's the most volatile, where he can really snowball suddenly or get shut down suddenly. Evening that up so his power is a little bit more consistent, a little bit less frustrating to fight against, scaling to the same point.
And affects wave clear too, if you didn't.
Yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on him though, because he's still surprisingly highly prioritized in ranked, although not necessarily so much in
just
SPL.
Like Achilles, he's a pub stomper. That's what some of those guys do. Kukulkan, a bit of a fix for him this patch. Whirlwind fixed an issue where the tornado that appears on targets afflicted by whirlwind would appear horizontal.
Yeah.
Oh,
I haven't seen that one too much. It sounds interesting though. But I'm glad we fixed it.
There's some fun screenshots.
That's interesting. That's for sure. Also, another fix for Kuzumbo in here. Watery Grave reduced the forgiveness timer between. Oh, this isn't a fix. It's more of a buff, I guess.
It is a buff. It is a buff.
Okay. Reduced the forgiveness timer between individuals to hit back from 0.7 to 0.6 from this ability. This was due to a bug where players would most likely not get hit 4 times in his ultimate, even if they should have. Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a weird. It was intended to have
a bit of
timing, so you don't like. Obviously, we could make an ability hit pulse, right? We want to pick the pulse time, but this ability had a kind of weird timing where when you added up all the pulses and the total duration of the ability, you had like a 0.1 second like tiny little window. No, you couldn't even hit anyone.
Oh, right.
It was actually impossible to get that last hit. So you had essentially what was a whole like 0.6 seconds of wasted time where they looked like they were in the ultimate.
And we just buffed Kuzumbo as well last patch.
So we fixed that to make his ultimate total duration hit the number of pulses matchup.
So we'd actually had a secret nerf on him and nobody knew about it, and now he's been buffed.
It's always been like that for
Sure,
quite a while.
but I'm
this
saying like that's
specific
kind of what it
issue.
is.
But
it's
now
kinda
it is
cool.
a buff. It was something more of
Okay.
a frustration or a feels or like a weird feedback thing where like, holy cow, it felt like that guy was standing in my ultimate for quite a while, but it didn't hit him because 0.7 seconds is actually quite a long time in Smite terms.
Yeah.
Just shifting that to 0.6 a little bit, making sure you get that extra hit.
Okay, well, Chiron trend exercise maybe needed there. Medusa buff as well. A couple of people noticed it, and it's a small change to Viper Shot. It's going to get a bit of a, I'd say, the Hachiman treatment of basically as you level up Viper Shot, you'll get more shots available for that. Medusa has seen a little bit of play, but at the same time, she's still on the lower end from what I understand.
Yeah, so in SPL, she's on the lower end of scene play, and additionally, overall performance has been, she's been on the bottom end of Hunters for quite some time. We've been watching her really closely because she has the potential to really impact a team fight and impact trading really well, but we just haven't seen that this season, especially as Hunter builds have kind of stabilized out a bit after all the early changes. And so Medusa, after seeing her sit that low for that long, seeing the fact that like all the other shifts haven't really helped her or brought her into light, giving her some love so that she can trade a bit more effectively in the late game.
It just feels like there's sort of right ability to look at doing that on as well, because she's got a lot of damage already. She's got a great control in team fight, so maybe this is just the last little tweak she needs.
Yep, and you have to land them.
Okay, that makes sense. You got to land the damage. Next up, Naja with a bit of a fix here. Windfire Wields fixing an issue where the target hit by this ultimate could move side to side when landing, so they could kind of reposition themselves.
It's
like very slightly
complicated ultimate, a lot of stuff going on, but players with the proper timing window on their way back down, there's a little bounce, a little knock up, and good players were moving themselves out of the way. So now you're going to always knock straight up on that.
So always straight down.
Always, yeah.
Okay, well, it makes those Scylla ultimates a little bit easier for mouse spots. If
those raw combos, etc.
The Naja Scylla.
Naja Ra is popular.
Naja Scylla is the most famous one.
Yeah, that one's
for
fun.
the years. Nike, next up, she's going to get a bit of a buff this patch, and it's a pretty big buff. Sentinel of Zeus. This ability will slow enemies by 40%, whether her plan of action is active or not. Wow.
Yeah, pretty big change.
Wow. So this actually changes the potential order that you use the abilities and non-engages. Or makes her want to engage a little bit more.
So that's what we largely did this change for, was we saw a lot of feedback. We see Nike's performance and her ability to impact team fights is actually quite high, but we got consistent feedback that she just didn't feel as impactful. The choices she was making, you really weren't making a choice, because when you went in, you wanted to plan of action the ult because you got the slow, you got the giant health shield, and so you often didn't use it on Ren, you didn't use it on your leap. And so by making it so that you always get that slow, now your plan of action, you might be like, well, I actually don't need the tankiness from the extra shield. Maybe I want to leap in quicker to get more people with my slow. Or maybe I want to actually use the disarm to deal with that hunter that is actually really, really impactful right now. And so by moving the slow there, you freed up choice for Nike players to really experiment with where they want to use plan of action.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. I understand.
Yeah, there'll still be a sacrifice if they want to do the more aggressive route, because they won't get the shield.
Yeah.
And the ability already slowed. We're just giving it the full slow, whether your plan of action or not.
Stronger slow, basically.
What we like about this the most is it changes up Nike's possible ability order, right? Especially for choosing offense or defense. I think too many times right now Nike's just kind of running around, and then when you're about to die, you plan of action your ult. And most of our players giving us feedback that's not the most exciting way to play.
Sure.
So with this change, you should get a lot more incentive to actually plan of action your leap and get in there.
And last on the list then, for the section this week, is a fix for the Mana. Colossal Fury fixed an issue where Colossal Fury was not getting extended duration for taking damage. Oh.
Yep, there's a bug. It's fixed.
Oh no, he's going to be even stronger now.
Yeah.
Let's have a little look at the graphic for you guys at home, for you guys to just take a little look and see exactly what happened here. Chiron, Medusa, Nike Love, bit of a nerf to Achilles and Guan Yu. Obviously some bug fixes there for the ones in changes, and the Hebert adjustment as well, which gives him a bit more health but less damage.
A lot of gods, a lot of bug
Obviously,
fixes.
there's not a whole lot of balance changes this week. There's just some flittering towards certain gods. Is there going to be bigger changes in the future? Obviously, you mentioned healing. Is there any focus towards that later, or is this
we're looking
good
towards
right now?
healing for sure. We're also getting close to mid-season. You know, about 3 patches away for that, so we're looking at a lot of bigger changes, conquest adjustments and stuff like that for that change. But we have some pretty interesting balance changes still coming up in the next few patches. One of the things we're really looking at a lot is some older gods.
Yeah.
We have a lot of older gods that are performing super well still. You know,
Sure.
Athena, but we recently revived Xbalanque and Guan Yu with relatively simple changes, and which is really exciting. So we're looking to do that on a few more gods in the next coming patches.
Cool.
And of course, we're spending a lot more, putting a lot more weight on picks and bans, and just overall prevalence of the god, even if the performance does not necessarily sync up. So we're going to
I
constantly
think
be looking.
Nike's a good example of that, I guess, because a lot of people think like she's strong from what people can say, but
Right.
no one plays her.
I mean, Achilles too, we're nerfing Achilles
Yeah.
because he's still just he's being 99% of games.
That's fair.
Which is just too many. So although his casual,
I'm
yeah,
okay
he's
with
such
that.
a fun god. His casual and ranked performance are not that astounding.
Right.
But we're really focusing on that more. So in the next couple patches, you're still going to see meta nerfs. Gods that are dominating the meta in picks. We're gonna be constantly looking to nerf them, and you're gonna see some old school gods that hopefully we can find some small tweaks to make big impacts, like we did on Guan.
Okay,
Expo.
I'm
So
excited.
We're really excited about the next.
I mean, this
few
patch is
patches.
already good enough because we've also got that adventure coming. But
The
that's
adventure
enough
is so fun.
from us three on the desk. It's time to get it over to Aggro to go through those exciting-looking skins we've got this week.
Thanks for the hands there, AJ. I appreciate that. I never would have known it was my turn to talk without those. It's time for skins. You heard them right. And joining me here on the casual set, it's Tina and Ashley, some of the fan favorites. What's up, guys? How you doing today?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Can't complain with how much awesome stuff we got coming.
I
And
know the adventure's amazing.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun.
It's like definitely one of my favorites.
It is probably my favorite.
It's
Yeah. What do
We
I
gotta
have to
play.
do to make sure? Okay, wait. I'll get into that later. I want to make this a permanent game mode, but I'll start my
yes. No,
petition
I was asking for that.
later
I was
on.
asking.
We'll get a petition going, everything like that. I don't know if
Yes.
that's what we'll
It's-
actually do. Let's get right into it.
should be.
Skins is what you're here for and what we're here for. Galactic Void Chernabog is our first one. This is the reward for completing the Slavic event portion of the Divine Uprising event. And this is what, I mean, everyone knew this was coming, but it's still going to be really awesome.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I love all of the Galaxy skins that we've done. They're just so
Yep.
cool. The colors are amazing, and the stars and the move around. And there's like moons on his texture and his wings. You know,
How
just
many-
There's actually
look
gold
amazing.
on his,
Yeah, there's gold
wings
on his
too.
wings.
It's not on the
Ooh,
card
yeah,
art.
that's
but
true. I love normally it's like very subtle. Everything outside of the Galaxy texture is very subtle on these skins, but a lot more gold in this one, specifically
Yeah.
on the wings. That looks really,
it's
really good.
cool. When he opens them, you can see like it's moving. It's like spiraling and shit.
Yeah, it
So you
doesn't.
can see-
Wow, that
see, look,
Tina,
wait.
that was literally like 45 seconds
It's
before
a
you
new
swore.
record.
Yeah, I don't know that it's even a new record at that point. It's okay. There he is in game, moving around. You can see the gold swirling around on the wings. A little bit less cosmic-y than some of the other cosmic skins, but that gold kind of it stands out. In addition to it,
Well,
looks
the effects
really, really
might
good.
help.
Effects
Did it?
certainly
Did
help.
it?
There it is, nice and the crystalline little galaxy look right there, looking pretty solid.
Yeah, colors are great. Stars are great. And the
Everything's
sound
great.
effects. Yeah, everything's just great.
Everything
Sound
is
is really
just
cool too.
very. It's often like these galaxy skins are usually kind of ominous sounding and like have the really cool sound effects. This is like an orchestra playing alongside Chernabog.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Look at that.
The little glitter.
Yeah. It's stars. Shh.
Yeah, stars. Yeah, glittery stars. That's what I said. Tina, come on.
Stars are just made of glitter.
Glitter, aren't they?
Yep.
Pretty much. I mean, that's basically what the entire universe is made out of, is just glitter everywhere. This is when Chernabog takes to the sky with his ultimate. Ooh, are those
Yeah,
like stars that...
post-processing.
Galaxy shadows, dude.
Yeah, well, that looks really, really cool.
Oh.
Love that front view of Chernabog there. Let's get the long-range ultimate here.
Yeah. Ooh.
Hyper speed,
Yeah, dude.
if you will. That's really, really awesome. Actually, the 3D artist on this skin used to be an intern,
Yes.
but is just destroying skins left and right, just making great stuff. So shout outs to him, man. He did a great job.
Austin shit.
Yeah, really, really awesome.
It's awesome.
I believe he's got his voice pack ready, but he also has a VXG.
VXG.
So let's start with the special emote.
He's
Yeah.
warping out.
What? And you can move?
Yeah. It's pretty.
He's okay. Wait, how long can you
Wait.
do this before Chernabog gets
Dizzy.
motion sick?
Yeah. I don't know.
That's so
But
cool.
that's pretty cool.
Of course, this will end as soon as you are in combat. I
Yeah.
imagine can't really use it to.
Actually, it's kind of making me a little motion sick, just like trying to
Look away,
follow
Tina.
it.
Tina,
Look
look away.
away.
Look away. Look away. Everything's fine. Okay.
Not on the
let's
couch.
let's get away from the VXG so Tina doesn't mess up our nice new set. And let's go to the voice pack.
Yes, okay. Good. Yes, okay. Good. Absolutely stellar. I am out of this world. You did well. When the universe was born, I was already there. Look upon me and despair.
Ooh, a little
This
rhyme.
armor is all very unnecessary.
Actually, Clumsy wrote it. So.
Oh, nice.
How do I get this off?
Shouts to Clumsy.
Wait, have you ever gazed upon anything so magnificent? I have once. It was the sun reflected in a raindrop.
Wow, that was really poetic
So
and beautiful.
deep, dude.
I really thought he was going to be like, I have.
It's so deep.
It's me. You know, like I definitely thought that's where that was going. But Clumsy, man, it was. I don't know what kind of music Clumsy was listening to during that, but he was really in the deep in the feels right there.
Yeah.
That is Galactic Void Chernabog. Again, that is your reward for completing the Slavic portion of the Divine Uprising event. Next up is Star Trooper Achilles. This comes from the Gold Vault. This part of the adventure, you get a key whenever you purchase the adventure bundle for Medusa's Deathmatch, and this can be the skin that you unlock. And I've got a feeling that it's going to be very tempting to use that golden key here. This sort of aesthetic that we've gone for, it kind of reminds me of the Orbital Scout Artemis skin that we did recently.
So the
That was
story
awesome.
behind this skin is actually that he was like cryogenically asleep.
Oh man, there's
for
a whole lore.
thousands of years.
Oh my god.
And then some man woke him up, and he's like, "Whoa, I got some new armor." And now he's still himself, but
Okay.
he's in the future.
Okay.
And has a different accent apparently.
All right. That so there's a whole story behind this.
Yeah.
There's the unarmored version, it looks like, of Achilles. Not quite the bare-chested beauty of the regular skin, but instead it got some enhanced muscles, if you
He's
will.
got some
Is this going to be appropriate, Tina?
fiber optic. What is it called?
Fiber
The stuff-
optic abdominals.
abdominals.
Nice. Okay, that was appropriate. Glad that surprised me there. I like the audio attack sound nice and cool. It's not as heavy as his actual spirit sounds like. He's got a nice lightweight new galactic light spear. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Right.
exactly what it is.
Yeah, thank you for covering me there. Ashley. Tina was not about to go in there with me, but you had my back. There's the ultimate fatal strike. Looking really cool. Sounds, I like the voice lines that are going along with it. Definitely still has that Achilles swagger to him.
Yes. So he's still Achilles. He just, I guess, got a new voice box, and now he's American.
Well, now he's got a thing on his face. That's changing his
It
voice.
changes your accent. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he
he got a haircut.
Right. Just may make him fit in more with his new galactic
Exactly.
friends.
Exactly.
You know, he won't
exactly.
be quite as strange. Let's take a listen to the voice pack here of Star Trooper Achilles.
Wow! Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yes, you did well for yourself. Oh man, I am something, aren't I? Didn't he need to teach you to fight? Ha! Don't bring a knife to a laser fight. Whoa! I'm a hero in the past and the future.
Ah.
I'm a legend.
That's the, there's the lore.
Yeah.
Stupid. I thought humans were more advanced now.
It's a
I
whole
like
story
it.
here.
That VEG is my favorite, though. Can I get
It's
another?
the same actor. So.
Can I get another listen to that?
Man, I am something, aren't I?
I love that. That is one of my
great.
favorite VEGs.
It's Rico Fajardo. He's like the best to work with. He's amazing.
He really is something.
Yeah,
isn't he?
he's great. He's
There he
great.
is.
He really is something.
Star Trooper Achilles, again, that is part of the Gold Vault. You get a gold key whenever you purchase the Medusa's Deathmatch Adventure Bundle. Next up, Polar Vortex Kukulcan. This is part of the Divine Uprising, so if you want to get that Galactic Void Chernabog skin we showed off earlier, you definitely got to get your hands on this one. I was saying during the little preview that this reminds me of the skin from the Corrupted Arena that we did before, where Kukulkan actually has feet this time.
Yes.
I love it. I love the...
Feetsies.
He looks like a dog wanting belly rubs.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
A lot-
Yeah.
lot
Just
of
not like
people.
on the ground.
Right,
Like
but like
upright,
floating.
like erect.
Like
and
yeah.
you're like,
okay, we could have used a different
yes,
word, but
yes,
yeah, if like my, if my dog had like
it means
wings,
straight. Okay, it came out as straight first, and then perverts changed it to make it sound different. All right.
Sorry, Tina, that's me. Anyways, let's get into what the abilities actually look like. Kind of like the Ooh, that sounds really cool. It sounds kind of similar to the snow Scylla skin that has like a lot of those icy
Like
effects.
crystal sounds,
Right.
kind of
What's the
like
skin's name? I
glass
forget.
breaking against each
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
Ooh, that's kind of more accurate, right? Like less about snow, but the iciness of it. That typhoon looks so cool.
Yeah. So normally we have those tornadoes swirling around, but we wanted more of like an ice pillar. So one of our tech artists, Chris Miller, actually worked on making those not spin the same way they used to. So it's a bit different now. It's a different effect.
Ooh, that looks really, really good. Yeah, definitely, the iciness is well conveyed, but has its own little look. Here's the ultimate.
Woo!
There he
Spooky.
is. That is one icy dragon.
Oh my god.
Right there, and
yeah, that's some GOT stuff.
I was literally about to say, don't spoil anything for anyone.
Oh, sorry,
Tina.
Sorry.
GOT meaning God milk.
No,
God ice.
God
ice dragon.
God. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Trains.
that's what we were talking about before. when yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah, let's listen to the voice back.
Oxivtra, astounding. None compared to me. You're so cool. When you find yourself frozen in place, wondering where it all went wrong, remember you had a chance to flee.
Ooh.
How do you applaud at a poetry slam for frost dragons? Cold snaps.
Wow, we went real deep into the bag for that joke.
Milkshakes and mortals who dare scale my mountain. Simply for a beast so cold, I have a hard time chilling out.
Tina, who did the voice pack?
Pompon did. Shout outs to Pompon.
Oh, but who's the voice actor?
Oh, the voice actor is Doc Morgan.
Oh,
Doc
wow.
Morgan. Well, let's get some cold snaps for his
Cold snaps. Good
slam,
job, Pon.
his slam poetry reference there. All right, next up, Violet Lord Thor. This is also part
Bring
of
on
the
the daddy.
Slavic portion of the Divine Uprising event. In the back there, is that the Aphrodite skin?
Yeah, it's his friend. They're just friends right
They're
now.
I thought
just
they're
friends.
brothers and sisters.
Oh, that's why they're friends.
Just friends as
boyfriend and
sibling
girlfriend?
friends, but also not
Not.
siblings.
Wait, that can't.
Right,
they're not
you have to pick one here,
incestual.
Tina.
They're like.
Right.
They're like. Are they friends or are
They're
they?
just friends.
They are hanging out together in one way or another.
But they look the same.
But they have matching armor and look very cool together. Wait a minute, that's not a. There's no hammer part.
No. It's a scepter.
He's
then
got a
it
scepter.
Go
Yeah.
ahead,
Oh,
Ashley.
well, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a little bit of magic going on with the scepter. It's his magic scepter, but
Am I just gonna get beat over the head with a magic scepter?
Nope.
There. Oh, you were wrong.
Ooh.
Pops out.
Okay, so
That's a hammer.
out of combat, it'll look like a scepter. In combat, it goes to the hammer sound. Oh, that sound is so good. Okay, there is something, I don't know what it is about Thor, but whoever does the auto attack sounds for every Thor skin just nails it. Like, I love the bass sound of Thor's auto attacks. I love this skin sound of the auto attacks. Someone just has a fascination with making awesome hammer sounds.
Yeah.
And they really do a good job. Look at that.
Yeah, I wouldn't believe the auto team just has like pots and pans, and they just like hit different pots and pans with different metal spoons.
This sounds like getting beat over the head with a mythical hammer. Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah.
There's that tectonic rift looks really, really cool. Kind of a golden, spiky wall.
It's architecture, dude. It's like golden spiked architecture.
Here's the ultimate. Wow, that awesome sound.
Dang.
Dude, the sounds on this skin are insane. Which is cool because the Aphrodite skin, the sounds are really good, but the visuals of like the turquoise birds and that kind of stuff is what really gets me to love that skin. And this one has really great visuals, but the sound on this one is really standing out to me right away. Kind of like the sound team's really stepped it up. The recent Ra skin, that Sun God Ra, like the ultimate like
Yeah.
like it's got
really
the same
iconic.
sort of thing here.
Yeah.
Really, really
Good
awesome.
job, audio team.
Good job. Cold snaps. Cold snaps.
Oh yeah,
Cold
cool.
snaps.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a listen to the voice back here for Violet Lord Thor.
Your courage is that of a bear. Truly astonishing. I am truly one of a kind. I
Yes.
have seen infants cry less often than you. Are you just going to stand there like cowardly dogs? All right. Who brought the gnome to an orc battle? I'm not going to be its chaperone. What do you call a dead dwarf? Good riddance.
Wow. Sounds like Thor should take a tolerance class. Thor liked that one himself. Very regal sounding and
very verbally abusive.
Yeah, and also really doesn't like goblins, was it, or orcs or dwarfs? That's what it was.
Gnomes and dwarves.
Gnomes. Yeah, that's right. All right, let's move on to Queen Cobra Medusa.
Yes.
This is the namesake of this update notes. 5.10 is Medusa's Deathmatch, and this is what you'll get for purchasing the Medusa's Deathmatch Adventure Bundle. We saw a little bit of a preview of this skin, I believe, during the teaser and demonstration of the actual adventure itself, but got to get into it. I mean, Medusa is one of my favorite gods to play. She has a lot of great skins already, so you got to get something that really stands out. And immediately, I'm looking at the tail. I love the spiked barb at the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
That thing will mess you up.
She's supposed to be kind of like Apophis, like how Apophis is.
Okay, from the Clash map.
And we've never actually seen Apophis's tail. Actually, I don't even know what the end of it even looks like because he's underground.
Right.
But we just use a little artistic creativity there and made up what that would look like.
Ooh, are those new ability icons as well?
Yes, they are.
Look at that. Viper shot. All green, which is what I'm all about. Green's my favorite color, in case you guys didn't know.
Yes, this is my favorite color too.
Knuckles, Tina. Good.
Tina's wearing a green shirt
choice.
also.
Yeah,
Yes,
Tina's wearing a green
check out her
shirt.
green shirt later.
I like it quite a bit. She has those increased Viper shots if you missed the balance portion. Now Medusa's getting some increased Viper shot. One extra as she ranks it up. That sound is really, really cool. Another god that I really like the sound design of is Medusa. I think that it's very clear what she's doing, but it sounds very rewarding whenever you hit your abilities with her. Is like that acid spit. When it connects, feels real good. There's the lacerate as well. Let's take a look at the ultimate. That's always one of the best parts of Medusa skins.
Are they any?
Dude, again, that is just such a meaty sound when that connects. And sand.
Gold. Is it gold or is it sand?
I think it's sand. Oh, maybe it is. It's golden sand. We're both right. It's golden sand. That's really, really awesome.
Do you get extra gold for that?
Queen Midas stuff.
Yeah, you really should.
King Midas stuff.
And there it is. That's the ability effects for Queen Cobra Medusa. I love for me, whenever something sounds like really intense, it always makes me feel cooler when using it. That ultimate certainly has that. Let's take a listen to the voice back.
Yes.
Oh, okay. She is a queen, I suppose.
Savage.
Wait, is she talking about Hindu Man?
Savage.
Oh my God, she is.
Serve me well. I am your queen. I just want to give you a big, big squeeze. That is no way to treat a queen.
I love the snake sounds on like the S's. Like that's really cool.
Before, just wait until I drag you into the abyss. Did you hear about the stupid snake? He lost his skin. Live or die!
Oh my God.
All right, geez, I'll laugh. Okay, Tina, who wrote this voice pack?
I did.
I had a feeling. Just the faces you were giving me during that entire thing.
Actually, it was really fun. It was voiced by Tiana Camacho, and we've never worked with her before, and it was really fun to work with her for the first time. And she loves SMITE, so.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like she did a great job. I love.
Did we mention that the mask is actually a big part of the adventure yet?
No, I mean the mask is a big part of the middle of the adventure. Right. That is, the death mask is what you're going for in the midst of that adventure, and so she has the same mask that you'll see. Yeah, she has the same mask on right now. That's really cool. Of course, she pulls it off during Petrify as well. I don't know. You can kind of see it during the recall animation. There we go. Pon's going into cinematic mode. Okay. Pon attempted to go into cinematic. Yep. There we go. There we go, Pon.
Go.
That mask.
Pon's got plenty of time now. He's on 0.1.
Look at those cobras, by the way. She's got new snakes. Pew!
That's what.
Oh God, she's
so
scary.
That's
Turn it off, Pon. I don't want to look at it anymore.
That's
it's okay.
so
She's still
cool.
a bae.
That's so cool. Still the queen, for sure. The desert queen, to be specific.
Yeah, she is.
There it is. That's your purchase. That's one of your reward purchases for getting the adventure bundle. Next up, certainly not least, last but not least, Crystal Colossus Yamir, and this man is certainly a Colossus.
Cute.
Cute. Wait, you see that and you see cute?
Yeah,
Adorable.
he has a tail.
Wait, you see
He
it
has
too,
a
Ash?
little tail. It's
Look
cute.
how adorable he
Look
is.
at him. He's smiling.
I
at
don't.
you.
I
Cute.
that is, okay.
He's even
that-
talking
Just
to
want
us.
to
Look
take
at
his
him.
face and smoosh it around.
I don't. It's made of hard crystal. I don't think you can. Now Ymir is going to get a tail here. That is
Yeah.
not something that any other Ymir skin has. He has his own tail, and I got to give shout outs to I Love Tails. He's a big member of the Paladins community. He's constantly talking about different Paladins champions and the
How they
tails that they have.
tails?
And yep, and loves Drogos because of his tail. Now he will be a Ymir main potentially with this skin. Ooh.
I just love the textures on some of these skins.
This is really cool.
How do they get I just don't even know how they do that with the reflections,
Yeah.
color changing. It's just such a neat look.
Yeah, you're going to be looking differently depending on where you are on the map, just based on how the light hits your skin. Is that wall looking great? Now, Crystal Colossus Ymir is part of the Crystalline bundle.
Makes
You
sense.
can grab that and you'll get a bunch of stuff. You'll get this skin, you'll get a fountain skin, a crystal fountain skin, and a Ymir is here avatar. Yeah.
It's super cute.
Is it? So
Yeah.
is it like a cutesy style avatar? Is that what it's going for? Oh, nice. Okay, so that's. I think you guys are being blinded by the cutesy avatar in this situation. I'm gonna be straight up with you. This is a cool skin. I would not describe this skin as cute.
Look at him.
Yeah, him going smash. That is like
So cute.
Adorable.
Yeah, so cute.
adorable.
There actually was a lot of iteration on his design because we wanted him to have like some kind of armor, but it didn't make sense to have this giant crystal monster wearing like really nice armor. So we kind of made it look like someone had like chained him up somewhere and put him in like we talked about like, oh, he's like in a gladiator ring or something and he escaped.
The way I wrote him, the story behind the way I wrote him is actually he's a raid boss. So you're trying to kick his ass, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Come at me, ya wusses," and then that's all his lines basically is just him trying to defeat like 25-man raid.
I'm number one surprised that he speaks in such a PG manner. That caught me off guard a little bit. Number two, I love the backstory that you're giving all these skins. That's what that's what I want to hear
more,
about.
right?
I'm not joking with you. Every skin, I want you to tell me that your own personal head canon
I should have gone through and
about it.
explain
That's
like
the
Thor
best
and how
way.
he's
The best way to off the skins is like why are we doing this?
Right.
Like what's the story here? What happened that they're playing this game right now, or why are they like looking like this and this?
I should just read my casting notes every time.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I should bring
Yeah,
my
that-
notes to these.
You
I'll do
totally
that. I'll
should.
do that next
yeah,
time.
well,
Okay, that's
get
great.
ready for 5.11. That update show is going to be nuts already. Let's take a listen to the voice pack here for Crystal Colossus Ymir.
Yes, yes, yes. Impressive. You are untouchable. I am unkillable. I will break every bone in your body.
Oh my God.
I see you have come to die.
Oh, man.
He's so cute.
He's so cute. Yeah. Man, just adorable.
My mother always knew I had different phases.
He has a mother.
Yeah, what's the backstory of his
raid
family?
joke, okay? Bosses have different phases.
Oh,
Raid
true.
bosses.
Okay, that's all right. No, Tina, I'm there now. Thank you for explaining again. Crystal Colossus Ymir, that is part of the Crystalline
Wait,
bundle. You get an avatar.
I just
Yeah,
want to
go for
mention
it.
that the voice actor for this is Kyle Hebert, and he's the voice of Gohan and Ryu.
No way.
Yeah,
Gohan?
he's Gohan in DBZ and Ryu in Street Fighter.
That's
So-
dope. That's really cool. The voice
Yeah.
pack sounded really cool. He definitely has that like
thanks.
a little bit of Ymir goofiness, but just a little bit. But he's also a badass.
But he's a
like-
raid boss.
Yeah, but
So he has to be
But he's also
cocky.
adorable and really cute.
Yes, he's so cute.
Yeah. Your hands will get crushed and destroyed.
I will kill you.
Yeah. Touch me and you die. And it's just like, yeah, but you're cute. And you just want to give him a little pats. That's the skins we've got for the 5.10 update show. And that is the 5.10 update show. I got to ask you, I know that we're most excited about the adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Which skin are you going to be using the most in the adventure, though? Which new skin?
I think
Go ahead.
the Ymir skin. It's just I love purple,
Yeah.
and I really love the ice cream Ymir skin.
It's true. Yeah, the ice cream sandwich walls. Well, it's different. You know, if you're hungry, maybe you don't want to like make yourself more hungry.
Yeah, exactly.
So you'll go to the crystalline one. If you've just eaten, maybe you had an ice cream sandwich, you can use the ice cream one pretty
Exactly.
safely. How about you, Tina?
I actually really like the Medusa one, just because like the way her voice pack sounds is really cool.
Yeah.
And the effects are really amazing. Like they're new, and I love Medusa. Like she's my favorite, one of my favorite hunters of all time. So
fair enough. I'm gonna be using that Galactic Chernabog and just like doing the little VXG around the map, just zooming everywhere around. Yeah, exactly. That does it for 5.10. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on the casual set. Yeah, that camera right over there. That's the one right over there. Again, so all the updates will be live on our website soon enough. PTS will be up as soon as we get a chance. So keep an eye out for that. I'm sure we'll be updating you on all of our social medias and all that kind of stuff. Thanks so much for watching, and stick around because we've got some competitive Smite action coming up right after a short break.